We are going to run through my Browns Colts preview, predictions, injury report, keys to victory, all that good stuff. But if you are ready to beat the Colts, well, then sub for Dubs, baby, because we're trying to get to 26,000 subscribers here on the channel. And if you want to keep the good times rolling, hit that sub button down below. Welcome on in to the 3-2 Cleveland Browns report, and hopefully a 4-2 Cleveland Browns report next Sunday after they take down the 3-3 Indianapolis Colts. On today's show, we're going to run through a bit of a primer to get you guys familiar with the Colts in case you're not some diehard NFL fan that watches 7 hours of commercial-free football every single week, and my keys to victory along with an injury report. So really important stuff. Make sure you stick with us for the entire video. But let's get started with getting ourselves familiar with these two teams, the Browns and the Colts, and kind of look at some of the numbers between Cleveland and Indianapolis, as it's going to be a road game for the Browns at a tough place to play. Indianapolis this year is not 3-3 by accident. They're averaging 28 points per game. Their defense is not very good, giving up 30.4 points per game. But look at the turnover differential. Like, this is a well-coached Indianapolis team that is at even 0. Meanwhile, the Browns, believe it or not, are at -8. That's on the offense, and we'll talk more about that later on. Third down percentage favors the Colts. Red zone percentage favors the Browns. So just looking at those raw numbers, these two teams don't appear to be wildly far off, but the difference maker is that 15.4 points allowed is such an asterisk, because that includes the two defensive touchdowns by the Pittsburgh Steelers and then the easy touchdowns for the Ravens after turnovers from the Browns. So when you look at the Indianapolis Colts so far this year, this is how they got to 3-3. They've lost both games to the Jags, their first game and the most recent game. They beat the Texans and the Ravens on the road. They took down the Titans at home in their last home game, and they also lost to the Rams in overtime at home. Now, it's still early in the week. We are filming today's Browns report on Tuesday during our live show, but here's the early initial injury report. Their wide receiver, second-year player Alec, he is currently dealing with a knee injury. He could be questionable for Sunday. Their tight end, Kylen Grandson. Remember, they don't have Jelani Woods anymore. They're a second-year player out of Virginia. So they are already very thin at tight end, so that could be a big loss. And then their starting right tackle, Braden, he is dealing with a foot injury. And just before we started filming, their star-ish defensive tackle, Grover Stewart, he got suspended 6 games. So some key pieces for Indianapolis potentially out this Sunday. And, of course, no Anthony Richardson. Now, as for the Browns, we're filming on Tuesday, so I don't have any immediate updates, but Watson's still dealing with a shoulder injury. Joel Bitonio sounds like he should be available for this week's game after missing last week's game with a knee injury. Cedric Tillman should be back. Anthony Walker is in concussion protocol. And then Jordan Kunaszyk. We haven't heard his name in a while. Remember, he hurt his knee, I think it was in the Chiefs game, the last preseason game. Started the year on IR. I know Bubba Ventrone would love to have Jordan back on special teams. That would be a big lift for the special teams crew. But speaking of Deshaun Watson, get your predictions in right now. Will he play on Sunday? Like I said, we're filming on Tuesday, so potentially by the time you're watching this, you already know the answer to this question. And if so, we'll just pretend like you watched it before you knew the answer and get your answers in down below. Now, let's get into my keys to victory. First key to victory, stop turning it over. Andrew Berry harped on this when he spoke to the media coming into the bye, and coming out of the bye, that message has still not been received. I mean, look at the teams who are turning the football over the most, and look at their records. You don't want to be in this group. You don't want to sit at this lunch table. This is the peanut table in 5th grade. No one wants to be at that table, and I'm sorry if you were at that table. But Vikings, 13 turnovers. Raiders and Browns tied for 31st with 12 turnovers. You never want to be with the Raiders in anything. The Patriots, 11. Broncos, 11. Bears, 11. All 1-5. You've got more turnovers than those teams. Like, you are playing with fire right now, turning it over this many times, and still having an above 500 record. It's not sustainable. I do not believe the Browns are going to be the first team to be bottom 3 in turnovers and win their division. Sue me. Here's my ultimate fear, is that we might start to see some sort of tension come in this locker room if the offense does not at least pick it up a little bit and stop putting the defense in bad spots with all these turnovers. And we might have what I think sort of happened 2 years ago. Remember the Ravens game when Baker threw 4 interceptions? The Browns picked off Lamar Jackson 4 times, and the offense couldn't do anything with it? You don't want that to happen. You don't want to go in December and the defense feel like we've got guys out here playing their asses off, guys are getting hurt, guys are getting injured, and the offense can't do anything with all these turnovers we generate, or they can't stop putting us back on the field in our own red zone. That's my biggest fear. I don't want to see some sort of divide happen because the defense is so severely outplaying the offense, and the offense keeps putting the defense in bad spots because of their turnovers. Now, before we get to the rest of my keys to victory, today's show is sponsored by ZBiotics. Let's face it, after each game day and all the super chats I get, I do not bounce back well the next day. But that is until I found ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So this Halloween, pair your candy and cocktails with ZBiotics to avoid a spooky next morning. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code CHATSPORTS at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you are unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code CHATSPORTS at checkout for 15% off. Shout out to ZBiotics for sponsoring today's video. Moving on to my second key to victory, offensive line domination. The Browns won the line of scrimmage. They won in the trenches against the 49ers, and that was crucial to the victory. Let's keep it going. I want to show you some Week 6 run blocking grades from PFF. Jedrick Wills, 78.1. His highest of the year and his highest in nearly a full calendar year. Michael Dunn playing with one calf in the game, 62.5. Ethan Pocic, 67.2. I think that's his second best of the season. Wyatt Teller, 71.4. Dawand Jones, 74.1. The thing that's been holding him back, slowing him down the most is run blocking. And here he goes out there against Nick Bosa, Hargrave, and the rest of this fierce 49ers front and has the best game as a run blocker in the NFL. Whether it is a banged-up Deshaun Watson or P.J. Walker starting, the Browns have to be able to run the football again. They didn't score a touchdown on Sunday by passing it. No, it was off a little bit of creativity and an awesome job executing at the line of scrimmage and blocking for Kareem Hunt and some good vision by 27 as well. You got to be able to win up front again. The Colts, they are a well-coached team. They're going to be physical. They are not some West Coast candy-ass program. No, they did not get to 3-3 by playing light. They play hard, they're physical, they tackle, so you got to be able to run block well and dominate up front again. Third key to victory for Cleveland, stuffing the run. Flipping the page here and talking about the other side of the line here, the defensive line, specifically Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson, one of the marquee free agent signings by Andrew Berry this offseason, had the best game as a Cleveland Brown this past Sunday against the 49ers. 1 tackle, 2 hurries, 1 stop on 37 snaps. Now, I want to show you guys a little bit of a film breakdown here. We're going to look at 2 plays, okay? You can see Dalvin Tomlinson right there. Well, first off, look at Christian McCaffrey. He's got a pretty good hole to run through. He's got a DB at the top of the screen running the wrong direction. He's got 1 linebacker to beat, and then he could be down to Juan Thornhill in the middle of the field away from going to the end zone. But there is Dalvin Tomlinson sandwiched between two 49ers players and a teammate of his own, and his head barely sticks out. You want to know who makes the tackle on this play? Dalvin Tomlinson fights through all that traffic, and he takes down Christian McCaffrey. That's one of the better plays we've seen from him all year. But it's not just in run stopping. Look at this next play here, okay? 49ers moving down the field on the Browns' half of the 50, and this is going to be a play action. Dalvin Tomlinson sees it all the way. He's got great eyes. He's looking in the backfield right now, and he knows this is not going to be a handoff. So what does Tomlinson do? He works off the block, and now he is hurrying Brock Purdy, who is throwing the ball, and George Kittle isn't even looking back yet. This one's going to go out of bounds for an incomplete pass. Dalvin Tomlinson this past game was magnificent. By far his best game as a Cleveland Brown. He was getting it done, stopping the run. He was disrupting the passing game for San Francisco. Tomlinson was awesome. We got to get more of this. They've got a good defensive line. Jordan Elliott is actually looking like a, dare I say, startable NFL player. You've got a good deep rotation across the board. But Tomlinson, he could be one of those MIPs. Not minor in possession, most important players. We're like, if he's not out there, that interior D-line is just not going to be the same. But who has been the best free agent addition so far on the defensive side? Would you go with Dalvin Tomlinson or Okoronkwo or Juan Thornhill or Zadarius Smith? There are a lot of good options, and you can make good arguments. So let me know, who do you think has been the best addition for the Browns on defense? Okay, fourth key to victory. Don't sleep on Gardner Minshew. Don't get caught doing what the 49ers just did all week, thinking, they're playing P.J. Walker. This is a win. We can just sleepwalk our way over there, and even if we play our C game, we're still going to beat. They got the backup quarterback in. No, don't sleep on Gardner Minshew, okay? This year, in 6 games, he's kind of gone in and out for Indianapolis, but he's definitely the starting quarterback moving forward with Anthony Richardson out. 882 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Look at his career numbers. Did anyone expect Gardner Minshew in his career to have that touchdown to interception ratio? 47 to 18 in 38 games, 7,500 yards. Like, Gardner Minshew is as good as they come backup quarterback-wise. Minshew, by the way, has 7 games with over 300 passing yards and just 26 career starts. For reference, Baker Mayfield had 10 games with over 300 passing yards and 59 starts while in Cleveland. So Gardner Minshew is not afraid to let it rip. He's not going to be some timid check down Charlie. He's going to go deep sometimes. And DB's thinking, well, they got the backup quarterback in. I don't have to worry about my 6. No one's going to get behind me, and he's definitely not going to risk throwing it over there. Oh no, Gardner will, and he has done it well. So with that being said, my 5th and final key to victory for Cleveland, don't pull a 49ers. Don't do what you just benefited from, which is thinking we can go on the road, play a team's backup quarterback. We're hot shit right now. Who's going to touch us? No, don't do what the 49ers just did. Respect your opponent. Don't go over there and start instigating stuff before the game, poking the bear, poking the dog. Don't do it. Poking, I guess, the horse in this case. Take the Colts serious. They're not 3-3 by accident. They are a good football team. They might be better in some ways with Gardner Minshew, which, listen, Anthony Richardson was having a good start to the year, but Minshew is a more proven veteran player who could probably do a little bit better of running an offense early on in the season compared to a rookie. Do not pull a 49ers. But predict the score for me. Browns versus Colts. Midweek right now, so shoot your shot. Let's see if you can get it right this far in advance. Browns versus Colts. What are your score predictions? Let me know down in the comment section. My score prediction, I'm going to go Cleveland wins 27-7. Another masterpiece by Jim Schwartz and this defense. And the Browns offense, whether it's with Deshaun Watson or P.J. Walker at quarterback, I think it's going to be a lot better in a dome against a Colts defense compared to a 49ers defense.